Hello everyone, OJ back with another video. I wanted to get this video out last night, but unfortunately I pulled my calf during MMA class last night and I was writhing in pain to even think about writing a script, let alone recording a video was just too much for me. But that being said, today I want to break down all of the major fight announcements Dana White announced in the War Room yesterday. I'm going to talk about my initial reaction as well as early predictions for who I believe are going to be the winners of these upcoming matchups. So, with that being said, let's jump straight into the video. Starting off with Merab Dvalishvili versus Sean O'Malley. I know this is going to sound like a casual take, but I'm actually really excited to see both of these guys only because they are coming over to Newark, New Jersey, and I live somewhat close to the area. And that means the UFC are going to do their absolute best to stack a card in Newark, New Jersey for once. And before I talk about the matchup, is this a deserved title fight? No. Would I have rather had Peter Yan fight Sean O'Malley or Merab instead? Yes. Would Pantoja versus Merab be even better? Yes. But Sean O'Malley being on the card means that the UFC will actually try and put on a good card overall because O'Malley is the UFC's golden goose. The past 2 years, I thought about spending $600 to go watch a UFC event in Newark. Unfortunately, the cards were not all that hype. Last year's card, the main event between Makhachev versus Poirier, was fire. The opener between Randy Brown versus Zaleski dos Santos was alright, but the rest of the main card was fucking dog shit. And before the event started, I knew most of the fights on the card were going to be dog shit. And the year before that, the overall card wasn't bad, but Aljo versus Cejudo as the main event, and Bilal Muhammad versus Gilbert Burns as the co-main event. I just did not think it was going to be worth $600 to go just to sit in the nosebleed seats. But now I know I'm going to get my money's worth because it's a Sean O'Malley fight card. They're going to stack the fuck out of this card. Now, could the main event be completely dead because O'Malley can't defend a double leg and Merab will never throw any submissions or ground and pound? Most likely. But there is always a fluke chance that O'Malley snipes Merab's chin. Again, I still remember when 37 years old Henry Cejudo dropped Merab in the first round of their fight last year. You're telling me that O'Malley doesn't have a fluke chance if Cejudo could almost knock out Merab? Like, I know this was the same argument everyone was making for their first fight, and it didn't pan out. But again, I'm not going to completely ignore this possibility because Dana White loves Sean O'Malley. If Sean O'Malley needs EPO, TRT, HGH, or any other performance enhancing substance, you know Dana White is going to hook O'Malley up with the good shit. And most casual fans love Sean O'Malley for a good reason. O'Malley is so fun to watch, regardless of the Dana White privilege O'Malley gets, and regardless of O'Malley's brick wall personality. He is electric to watch in the cage, and who knows, maybe that hip surgery O'Malley got could be the difference maker for O'Malley to find the one punch KO shot. I'm gonna say Merab wins this similar to the first fight, but again, O'Malley could fluke this, and it will be hype if he does. Moving on to Juliana Pena versus Kayla Harrison. Listen, it's WMMA. It's probably going to be a mid fight, but my expectations for co-main event fights at Newark were never high to begin with. For example, Bilal Muhammad versus Gilbert Burns in UFC 288. That fight was dead as fuck. Bilal just resorted to spamming head kicks like Leon Edwards because Burns broke his arm in the first round of the fight. People talk about how you're a casual if you don't like watching Bilal Muhammad fights, but you can't convince me that Bilal versus Burns was a fun fight. I'm sorry, you just can't convince me otherwise. And in 2024, Sean Strickland versus Paulo Costa, what a fucking waste of my time this was. The reason I had some expectations for this fight was because I thought Paulo Costa was going to be the one trying to press forward, but no. Costa just resorted to throwing leg kicks off the back foot for 25 minutes. Meanwhile, Strickland just threw jabs and teeps in his iCarly boxing stance and never showed any intention to go to war with Paulo Costa. At least now, I don't have to care about the co-main event right now because I know it's gonna be dog shit. Like before, you're kind of anticipating a potential exciting matchup between Bilal versus Burns and Strickland versus Costa, only for both of those fights to be completely dog shit. As for the matchup itself, I will lean towards Kayla Harrison. I just do not rate Julia Pena as an actual champion. Hell, I thought Raquel Pennington beat Juliana Pena at UFC 307, but Pena got the robbery decision. I just don't see Pena being able to find that much success against Harrison, who has the cleaner grappling and is stronger than Pena. I don't think the gap in grappling is massive to the point where Harrison can just submit Juliana Pena, but Harrison will dominate Juliana Pena in the ground. Now, if Pena actually knew how to throw a proper punch, I would say that she could get the better of Harrison on the feet, but unfortunately, she doesn't. So I'm suspecting a Kayla Harrison decision win via half guard camping for 5 straight rounds. Moving on to Ian Gary versus Carlos Prates. This is an insane fight. I'm really excited for this fight. You have the chronic smoker and alcoholic Carlos Prates against the iPad kid Ian Gary. Now, I could just sit here and talk about how Ian Gary is annoying as fuck, how his wife is annoying as fuck, and how Gary is just soy. But I'm not going to do that because I respect Ian Gary for taking this fight. There is zero incentive for Gary to step up on short notice in order to take on a dangerous up and comer that is way below him in the rankings. But still, Gary took this fight because he'll fight anybody at any time. With that being said, this is a very tricky fight to predict, but I'm slightly leaning towards Carlos Prates. The reason I say this is because I don't believe Gary has the output or power to gain Prates' respect. Uh, Lately you've seen Gary just move laterally, popping the jab, or throw some teeps occasionally off the back foot against dangerous power punchers, which is who Carlos Prates is. Sure, Gary is very good at avoiding punches and fighting off the back foot, but I just believe that Prates' ability to find the chin and knock his opponents out with two left hands down the pipe is better than Gary's ability to avoid incoming blitzes. Now, there are two valid questions regarding Carlos Prates. How will his cardio look past the third round? And how will Prates' grappling look against someone who can actually implement good grappling in their game? These are the questions we ask ourselves regarding Carlos Prates because if this fight does go past the third round and Gary's starting to rack up more and more control time on the ground against Prates, then I can definitely see Gary fraud checking Prates. I just don't see this fight going past the second or third round because by then I believe Prates will be able to find Ian Gary's chin. And I know Ian Gary took clean shots to the head against Shavkat Rakhmonov and MVP, but again, I truly believe Prates just has the death touch in his punches. I'm not saying that Prates is better than Shavkat Rakhmonov, but in a combination of power, speed, and technique purely in the striking, I would give the edge to Carlos Prates. I will definitely be studying tape before this fight, though, because again, I'm really excited for this fight and I want to study as much film as possible before I make any official predictions. All right, that's going to be it for today's video. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think about all these fights. Who do you believe is going to win each of these matchups? And let me know whether or not you hate the matchups. But other than that, you guys will probably see me upload a second video in a couple of hours because I can't train for at least the next several days due to pulling my calf. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.